Well, hey everybody. For those of you contemplating a ride down the Blue Ridge Parkway, if you've never done it before, it can be a little bit confusing trying to plan your ride. Now this is the Parkway map that you can download from their website or pick up at any of the visitor centers. You can see it's a pretty big map, and it only covers half of the trip. The other half is on the other side. I recommend getting one of these things because it's all good information. It tells you where things are. The neat thing about the Parkway is that there are mile markers, concrete mile markers, the whole way. So you always kind of know where you are. So the only reason I'm doing this is after having done the last couple trips, trying to figure out where you can get food and fuel and kind of plan your day or how many days you're going to take to do this trip and where you're going to stop and stay. You can see it's only 269 miles from the north end at the bottom of Skyline Drive at I-64 in Waynesville to Cherokee at the bottom end. Speed limits are 45 miles an hour. There's lots of places to stop and look at the beauty sights. So it can take you a while. 100 miles in a day may not be unreasonable. For those of you who have to plan your fuel and food and lodging, here's some quick and dirty calculations you can do based on my own experience. There's more. I haven't done the thorough research on it, but I just did the trip a couple weeks ago, and it pretty much boils down to this, so take notes. It starts up at mile 0 in Waynesville. So let me get this thing to focus. Waynesville, that's I-64. Food, lodging, and gas, obviously. The next stop is mile 87. Peaks of Otter Lodge is one of the only two places that you can find lodging on the Parkway that's part of the National Park system. So you can get food, you can get lodging there. It's worth noting there is absolutely no fuel anywhere on the Parkway. You have to get off to get fuel. So Peaks of Otter is a place you can stay if you make reservations. At mile 120, you get to Roanoke. Roanoke, right next to the Parkway. Easy off, easy on. All the services you can imagine. Food, fuel, lodging, airport, whatever. That's at mile 120. So at the very least, you got to go about 120 miles from first obvious gas stop to the next obvious gas stop from Waynesville to Roanoke. At mile 177 is Mabry Mill. There's a restaurant there, and you can get food on the Parkway. At mile 200 at Fancy Gap, where the interstate crosses the mountains there's a gas station right off the entrance to the Parkway. Very convenient. Don't know what else is there, but there's a gas station. Mile 260, the Northwest Trading Post. They have some food there, gift shop, stuff like that. Mile 335 is Little Switzerland. It's right on the Parkway. Can't miss it. It's not part of the park system, but lodging, food. I assume there's gas stuff not terribly far away, but I know that there's definitely lodging and food there. Mile 380 to 390 is Asheville, the next large city that's right on the Parkway. Obviously, you can get anything you need in Asheville. Mile 410 is Mount Pisgah. Mount Pisgah is the only other lodging facility on the Parkway, so food and lodging. Again, no gas, but the Mount Pisgah and Peaks of Otter are both subcontracted by the Park Service. Little Switzerland is a private organization, but it is immediately on the Parkway. They get down to mile 455 in Maggie Valley. Lodging, food, gas. It's only about 3 or 4 miles off the Parkway. Easy to get to, nice little town. And then mile 469, the Cherokee at the other end. And obviously food, fuel, and lodging is there. So for planning fuel, you got to really look at 120 miles to Roanoke. You can get fuel another 80 miles down the road at Fancy Gap. You can get fuel easily at 380, 390, about 100 miles farther along, and down to Maggie Valley and at Cherokee again. There are other places like in the middle, right after Northwest Trading Post here, around mile 280, Boone and Blowing Rock, Banner Elk. Town's not far off the Parkway. Food, fuel, lodging available there as well. Other places in North Carolina and whatnot, you may have to drive a long way to find fuel. So just for quick fuel planning, lodging planning, where you can get some chow, that'll get you there. Of course, the Skyline Drive is just north of this thing. It goes north from Waynesville up about 107 miles. There is fuel and food about halfway along, no lodging, and the 100 miles of that on up to the north end of it. Hope this helps, especially if you're going to do the rally in 2023.